All right, coming in with this one right here though, you got the official music video special. D8. D8 falling into this one right here. You got the whole D8, the falling. The falling with the D8, and then you got special my guy. Especially him coming into this whole thing right here. You got DA, coming into it, especially with him, you know, him coming into his following, especially with the music video and everything else. But especially with the DA, DA coming into it, and DA, having his whole promises. Like, hey, he always has something, he always has something promises, like he always has something info scaffold, like, his music and everything else, especially with the his whole thing, especially how everything else, the lyrics, but especially with his his main following.
I can't see no flaws in her, she knows I won't do no wrong to her. See no flaws in her, she knows I won't do no wrong to her, she knows. So you ain't gotta worry when I come around, 'cause I've been making time, I just wanna see you. So baby, don't you worry when
Who you ain't gotta worry, cause I'm gonna make that time for you, especially for you. The whole thing. Like, if you can't make that time up for somebody, then that shows you right there that, hey, it ain't no love, it ain't no east gone, it ain't no back and forth, it ain't none of that. It ain't none of that. Like, that shows you right there. That person don't really, he's not itching for you. Especially if they can't make that time up. Hey, but I'm gonna make that time up just for you. Like, ooh, like just his whole thing and everything else. Like, it's just so informatic. The way he just put in his whole basically every comedic.
come around, 'cause I've been making time, I just wanna see you. So baby, don't you worry when I come around. Ain't nobody got you like I got you. 'Cause the way you're touching on me, baby, I know that you want me, baby, but tonight it ain't about you. Now you call me crazy, baby, I don't like the drama, baby, I just said the drive is on route. You've been driving me insane. No, I keep falling for your lies. Falling for your lies. Menu maru meri maan, tenu dekh liya ita ek baar ve mere vallon na. I keep falling.
Ooh, and I fell into your lies too. Ooh, that one right there too. Especially how people, like, they'll make lies about you and all this other stuff. Like, even in a goal of a love thing. They'll say, they ain't doing nothing. But they doing all this stuff behind your back. So you really falling for it. Like, especially how that whole thing. Like, hey, this one is something. Gets you for especially how the thing is going. Like, it gets a little bit of both sides. You got the English, and then you got the, so that really, hey, that's something screwful more.
Falling for your lies. Falling for your lies. Menu maru meri maan, tenu dekh liya ita ek baar ve mere vallon na. Nahi hona menu tera naal pyar ve gali sadi na. Tera mara javi ita baar channa mere vallon na. Maybe I don't wanna take it slow. Maybe there's some things I should've known. I've been praying, hoping that we grow. I love seeing your name on my phone. I know that I'm hard to deal with. I know that I make your mind explode. Baby, I've been starting to feel this. So you ain't gotta worry where my heart goes. stop touching on me, baby. I know that you want me, baby, but tonight it ain't about you.
This is deep, this is real deep, especially how the whole thing goes and how everything else goes, especially how this whole thing goes. My condolences goes to this whole thing because this whole thing is like it takes on both way on both sides, like especially how the whole thing is, curving too, especially my boy, he's hitting on different spots too, like he in different areas, different troubled times at different times, especially from me seeing the looting and the view, like this is some courage, like it's just something. I feel like the whole song is courage because the way it's just balanced and everything else, but it has a Valentine to it, it just reminds me of some type of Valentine, Valentine thing, because just the concentrics and everything else.
I know that you want me, baby, but tonight it ain't about you. Now you call me crazy, baby. I don't like the drama, baby. I just said the drive is on real. You've been driving me insane. Now I know why I keep falling for your lies. Mainu maru meri maan, tenu dekh liya ita ek baar ve, mere vallo na nahi hona mainu tera naal pyar ve, gali sadi na gera mara javi ita baar, janna mere vallo na.
Ooh, and this is another thing. All his songs be hitting too. Like they hitting different, different space, space ludics. Like, a lot of his stuff, a lot of the stuff he been putting out too. Like it's just deluxe. So like he be putting in so much deluxe. So too, that's another thing I showed. So, with everything else coming into it, I see the shine on him. Like all the shine is on him, because everything he been just diluting lately, it just been impossible. Like it been impossible to even his whole thing because it's so kinetic. The sun is like shining on him, so he got the whole thing already established because the way this whole thing is already functioning, coming, and especially how he's coming, like especially him, just getting his mind off of things. Like sometimes you gotta do that, just going to this point of a view and just wondering, what's actually going on in life, like just get through it. Oh man, this one was delusional crazy. Especially with everything else, Especially with this one, everything else, how this one came through. But make sure you guys go check out all his other ones, because he been just delusional, especially with all of these other ones, like what I see. Then you got, his other ones, and you got his other ones, and you just got so much of his stuff, but it just been delusional, what he's coming for. But sometimes, you just gotta just be by yourself and you try to delusion know yourself and get all that stress, that selfish out of you and all that. But you got the falling, especially everything else falling. Make sure you guys definitely like, comment, subscribe, everything else. Especially with this, hey, it's definitely, make sure you guys check out my boy, DA, because he didn't put in some. Shout out to all the producers and all the key cut, but what everything else.